Valuing your handmade goods. Pricing perfection. The anatomy of an artisan's price. Crafting value. You getting the picture of what this video might be about? I have a few things I learned in my first year of business. Going back a year or so, I put up a video taking my hobby to a business. And on YouTube, not my crafting of items or anything, that was my most watched video. Thousands, in the thousands. So I'm still getting comments on that video, and they haven't seen my next video that was after that saying I did it, I turned it into a business. So I figured I'll do a follow-up to that first video. So it's been a year, or almost a year. I started at the beginning of 2025, and I converted my hobby into an official business so I could be legit, sell items, do it by the book. I have an LLC, which in my state is probably the most expensive of all the states. Maybe there's one that's equal. I know I'm in the top 3. It is ridiculous how much it costs, and the renewal will be coming up. It's annual. So that's a little tough for a hobby turned to business. It isn't a big, well, for me, it isn't a big income maker. My whole idea was I wanted to be able to earn income to pay for materials so I can keep going. I can't just keep buying hides of leather. So we'll talk about pricing. What I did this year, I don't have my own website. I used Etsy because I figured they already had the followers, the people. I can't say that I have that, all figured out. I must be at the bottom of the pack. I do get some views. Maybe it's my marketing. They want you to pay for advertising. I haven't done that. I have an eBay. Same thing. So I decided to do craft fairs. At least I'll get out there and I'll have instant sales. So there's a lot to craft fair, going. There's a lot to do in craft fairs. Not only the night before, you're making all kind of stuff that you think you should have on your table. You're up early, you're hauling everything there, you're setting up tents and tables, and then you're there the whole day, and then you break everything down, come home, and you have to unpack. It isn't easy. You're doing it for the love of doing it, and hopefully, you sell some of your wares. One thing I can say about the craft fairs I did, I met a lot of nice people, and I enjoyed being there and just chit-chatting. When I made some sales, I was like extra happy about that. So we'll talk about the craft fairs a little, seeing as that was what I did this year. That was my main thing, and what I learned about craft fairs. I chose to start off locally, small, new venue. I didn't want to be overwhelmed. I never did a craft fair. I never went out in public, so it's a little intimidating. And I didn't know how I was going to, and I didn't know what to expect. I did sign up for Square for my point of sale, and I did, talking about popular videos, I did one on the Square when I signed up for it, because I was all excited, and that became my next most watched video. A lot of people probably typed in Square to learn about it, and I signed up under a person's link, and they got a little boost from it, and I got a boost. And so I put a referral, which will be in my description. A lot of people use my referral, and what that did for me was give me free transaction fees for a particular time. Same thing for them, or they could take some money off a purchase or whatever. But I haven't paid a transaction fee for Square, which I'm very happy about. The transaction fees, I have Venmo. There's pretty good bite. I have a good transaction fee going if I sell on Etsy or eBay, and that really does hurt the bottom line, which we'll talk about in pricing. But right now I'm still going on about the craft fairs. I learned a lot from other vendors. I met some real nice people. I have friends now that, that I see out at fair venues, and it's nice. It's great. They've taught me a lot, along with what I've learned on my own. Another thing that you might think if you're new into fair vending, is you're gonna want to make all the things you like, and you're gonna stay up late at night and make a bunch of them. Maybe the last fair you sold a couple of a particular item, so I better stock up and make a bunch of those. Or it's an item that you like and you think everybody else is gonna like. I learned that one. Stay up late making a bunch of things that I think are gonna sell. One fair is not like the other fair. No two fairs are alike. You might sell one item hot one week, and the next week it's a dud. You won't sell any, or maybe a couple weeks. I had a few items that weren't my favorites, and my wife said, you should put them out there anyway. I was like, I don't know. So I did, boom. And those are the ones that sold. I couldn't believe it. A third fact about my craft fairs: no matter what you bring, your table's stacked. You can't even fit another thing on. There's no space. It's cluttered. The legs are gonna fall. And they will ask for something that you don't have. And I'm like, all these things I have, and you're asking for that? Which is fine, but it's a little disheartening that happens. If your online store isn't going to pop up in their face because you're new and you don't have a lot of experience on there or sales, then you're hoping that at least your craft fair there's a person there, so there's a chance of a sale. So you might have a tendency to make that sale, to underprice. And I can admit that this last fair I just did, it's the end of the year, it's Christmas fair. As you can see, I made 4 sleigh bell belts, and I still have 4. I brought them all home, and it's soul crushing. I thought the last fair of the year, holiday, and I have some high priced items because it's leather. You build a tote bag, it's going to be expensive, especially if you're using a nice veg tan, or it adds up. But I made a lot of small items with my smaller scrap items. I made plenty of low price items because craft fairs are, they're walking around there, they have tons of money in their pocket. They might not want to pull out the credit card, but small items sell easily. Well, you would hope. tell you the truth about this last fair, I didn't even make my table. And so it was disappointing. Kind of why I'm making this video too, to just put it out there, spill my tea. So I marked down everything. I cut my prices. I felt sick to my stomach that I did that, and I didn't sell anything anyway. So that didn't help any. And I don't want to cut my prices. So I am retired. It isn't like I need to do this to pay my mortgage, but I don't want to be that guy that's going to undercut his prices and make the person who is doing this for a living look like they're super expensive. I think everybody's doing the same thing. We're working as hard as we can, and our prices should be similar, depending on the formula that you're using for pricing, which I'll get to in a sec. Maybe at certain places, that you're going to have to be a little more persuasive with your pricing to this clientele. Maybe it's not your right avatar for this kind of product. So my future craft fairs, I want to branch out. I want to go out to some other areas, some bigger events where there's more foot traffic. So that's my planning for 2026. I'm gonna give it another whirl, and I'm gonna try a new thing, try a few things, differently, and I got to get a little better with my pricing. You can see all my mess on the board. Some of these are, I'm cutting down a price of an item I bought, how many feet, cutting it down to how much I use on an item, 4 cents an inch. I don't know what that is, elastic cord or something, on my journals. Formula over here. So let's talk about pricing a little bit. Some of this stuff here I don't need. I've used my stopwatch on my phone, timing how long it takes me to make one of an item, or if I do 3 at the same time, trying to streamline my time, be more efficient, and not doing this, then this step, and this step. If I'm going to bang out some snaps, I'm going to put 2 die in and do one side of everything, and then take out those dies, put on the other 2, and do the other side of the snap. So I'm not switching back and forth, wasting time. So up here I have some costs of what I paid for some items. I'm usually writing it down while I'm making whatever it is that I'm making. A lot of the stuff is little notes to me with what size needle goes with what size threads. This info I'm not going to erase because that has to do with the sewing machine. And I am a rookie there, so I have hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, which I am totally thrilled. That was a goal, for just my own goal. Thank you guys who have subscribed. If you haven't, please do. I'm not monetized. I don't have enough watch hours, so it doesn't do me any good. I did add buy me a coffee link. I saw it. I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. I always have a coffee down here. So if anybody wants to fill up my coffee, that's there. But as far as YouTube, I'm just doing this to do it. I've been on YouTube already 3 years, and I just reached 1,000 subscribers. I don't get anything for it, but I meet a lot of people. I get to comment back and forth, and it's fun to do. So anyway, talking about pricing. So I have over here, I don't know if you can see this in that color. I'm colorblind, but I'm guessing it's the green. It's a little hard to see, but it says cost of goods times 4. plus 10%. So I must have read that or heard that somewhere as a formula. I've heard of cost of your materials times 4, boom, that's the price. Here I have plus 10%. You know, you got to make a little markup, help pay for equipment and keep the business going. So yeah, I've heard, like I said, goods times 4 equals your price. Here's plus 10%. You could add 5%, you know, add whatever you think. Down here I have another one. I have my materials. So cost of goods. Then I've added the hourly rate. I think I have it at $20 an hour, which is pretty modest. You know, I don't even know if I'd go work for, I mean, anyway, it's modest. You know, 30 to 50 would be probably more reasonable for an artisan who is pretty good at his craft. Maybe if you were just a beginner, maybe you're, you know, be at the 20 mark. But so I got a half hour. I got $10 here. So I got labor there, and I've timed it on the stopwatch. Then I added another 20%. And I believe that was for mock-up to cover electric, heat, all the little items that you don't consider that are there, glue, thread, you know, all those little items. Maybe in the cost of materials, you're counting like your leather, the strap, maybe some heavy hardware. A lot of the little things kind of get lost. So if you have a percentage that you add in the price, like automatically, you know, you have paper, you have shipping, boxes, material, you know, all that stuff too. So behind the scenes adds up quite a bit. And we're not even counting the time that you're spending to package something, the time you're spending to run to the post office and ship it, the time you're spending doing bookwork. And don't even get me going on bookwork. But that's a whole thing in itself. So, and then maybe times 2, that, and then plus 2 times your material. Because you need to repurchase what you've just used. And there is a lot of scrap involved. Hides aren't perfect. It's a natural piece of material, and it has a lot of flaws. So you start doing a formula like this, and you get that bottom line, and you're like, okay, yeah, that's what it's worth. That's what the price should be. But then you're thinking, there is no freaking way I'm going to a craft fair and anyone is going to drop that money. Not in my area. Not in this crowd that I've seen. Maybe there's other places where more influential, where you can get that, or you get the right person that or you get that right person that appreciates handmade goods. They understand the work you've put into it, and they'll pay the price. And that goes along with when you're at the craft fair, you have to explain to them about your materials and about the work that you've put into it, and because you know, but they may not know. I had so many ask me, "Oh, did you make this?" And I was kind of thinking to myself, "Of course I did." I was thinking, yeah, but maybe some people buy stuff and then put it on a table to resell. So you can't just kind of assume that they understand the product, and that it's going to last longer, most likely, than the products that they're buying on, say, Amazon, that were sourced from who knows where. So I'm not an expert on any of this. Pricing is one of the harder things I think about the whole, the whole business thing. For the new year, I'm gonna try some other tactics. Maybe zero in on a few items rather than just having an array of everything. My first year, I understand that it's a learning experience, and my first year is not going to be wonderful, but I'm going to give it another go. Just another note about the craft fair: I did a medieval fair, pretty big function in town, and it was beautiful. They had contests for people dressed up. They had the contest for everyone dressed up. I'll put a picture of my tent. They asked all the vendors to make their tent medieval decoration, which I watched Skilltree in his videos, and I got some ideas for him for some lanterns. So thanks to you, Skilltree, for your ideas. And so I made a whole bunch of medieval type of wear, which isn't my norm. I had a whole table, all medieval, and I think at the very end of the fair, I sold one pouch. I had a decent day. But it was all my regular items that sold. The stuff that I bring like every week to the craft fair. So that was a total surprise. I mean, I made my dragon scale bag, which you can see it's on my eBay, I think, along with a quiver I made, all veg tan, stamped part of it, with basket weave stamp, and made 30 suede pouches. I have lots of suede in the house. I made about 30, maybe more pouches. I brought everything home. I still have it all. I'll sign up for the medieval fair again, and hopefully, but I won't have to make anything this time. A lot of the people that came in dressed up had everything already, so I don't know. I don't know how to, I don't know what to think about that. If you have any comments, let me know. Like I said, though, you can't plan it. You just do your best and hope for the best. I'm not trying to tell you how great I did my first year. I'm telling you some of my woes. It does get a little frustrating, but you just have to relax, clear your head, and think about maybe why and maybe what strategies might be better. You have to find that system for success, whether it's mental. I was thinking, so I put tags on all my items so the people can see it without feeling funny about maybe asking, and it takes it off me too. I'm trying to be an extrovert and not an introvert, but I think it might be better to maybe not price the items, and so you can get involved in a conversation with the person, and then they're going to ask you what the price is, but have the confidence in your items to proudly say what it costs, and if they need an explanation or you want to go a little deeper and explain to them the work involved and the materials involved, because they probably don't know. Part of what I need to do this year is build up my confidence to step forward and show my where and tell them the price and be proud of it. The first year, maybe it was a little intimidating, you know, but I pretty much got into ease with chatting with people. I'm a chatter anyway. Once I get going, at first I'm kind of shy, but I don't do crowds well, but one-on-one with a person, I enjoy it. And in the future, I've been interested in pattern making, but I don't really know the software. I think that's going to be a whole new ball game, but it's something I want to wet my feet in. And also, I find the laser work kind of interesting. And a lot have asked me about stamping, initials and stuff. And I've got some stamp sets. I don't have a heat embosser or a gold foil embosser. They're pretty costly. I haven't had I haven't been able to justify the cost of one of those at the moment. But the lasers, I think it would be fun. I think I'd like to learn about that. But then again, it's another investment into my basement of stuff. When making things, I need to optimize my flow. Plan out what I'm going to make instead of just willy-nilly, oh, let me make this, let me make that. Have a system, like at a normal job where they have everything flow line so that you're not repeating and backstepping and wasting time. If you're going to have to cut the price a little, you're going to have to optimize your steps and your time. Try to keep that bottom line down so you can sell more products. And in doing that, then you get your money back if you have a little volume going. A lot of days I just chat with people. I give them my card and they'd leave, but I don't sweat that, because I figured, hey, that could be a future sale. Maybe they tell a friend that, oh, there's a guy at this fair. He's there often, and he's the only leather guy I see around. Yeah, so at the fairs, some people look at your items and oh, that's beautiful. Oh, but it's so expensive, and so then naturally you want to drop your price so that they're like, oh, it's beautiful. Oh, I'm going to take it. But then you feel like crap, because it's like you're just giving it away. You're not even. It's not even like covering anything. It's a good deal for them, but I'll say it again, it's soul crushing. That's what I think of. So a few things going forward is work on sourcing materials. So you're still getting the quality materials, but maybe you're shopping a little better, a little more strategically, and getting deals to help the bottom line. Optimize your workflow, and maybe innovating some technologies, some pattern making, some laser work, like I mentioned. So the cold season is kicking in. It might be a good time to hunker down and maybe read up on branding and marketing and how to do storytelling to justify your premium luxury goods and why they're priced at that. So like everyone says on YouTube, you need to solve a problem for a person. That's why they're going to want to buy from you. You're solving a problem. Maybe it's not a problem like we think of a problem, but maybe it's satisfying a need, buy an item that you're going to make that's going to help them out. And what about your leather item stands out to make them want to buy it? You're solving a problem that they have. Is it carrying their laptop? Is it, who knows? But something to brainstorm about. But I think a big part too is to find your avatar people. Maybe get yourself out in an area where it's more apt to have the crowd desire a little bit higher end items. Higher end, I mean, because the cost of material makes it a higher end, along with your extra love and expertise that you put into the piece to make it look desirable when they walk up and they see it. So, some food for thought. One more thing I meant to mention about Square is I'm not sponsored by them. I do have the link below if you join Square, if you wanted to use it as a point of sale. So there is a link in the description about it, but besides that, I want to say that I love their monthly printouts. The app, I can get in there and see so much. It's like very detailed. I did have 1 month that there was a thing in there that I couldn't place it. I couldn't I couldn't figure it out. So I called them, and their customer service was beautiful. I hung up and I told my wife, I said, hey, I just called Square. No, I'm sorry. I didn't call them. I did a live chat on the app, and it was so smooth. It was quick, smooth, and the person answered my question, and then I understood it. And I was impressed with that. Most times, it's a little tough with customer service these days, and it was right on. So, there's another mark for the Square. So anyway, with that, hopefully my next video is back on the bench and getting back in gear. But I wanted to do this end of the year recap and to kind of answer those people that watched my video last year about starting a business, and they gave me lots of pointers and comments. Really grateful for that and things to think about. But I want them to know that I actually went ahead and did it, and still trying. So I hope all of you have a wonderful holiday. It's coming up real soon, and we'll see what 2026 brings. So good to see you again, and hope to see you soon. Take care.